I'd also had the chance to talk to Greg in the green room before I came out to start talking my presentation, and we basically had an entire debate around the ethics of virtual reality and augmented reality, and I only wish that it had been recorded because he has such a great intellect and so much personality, and the English and the New Zealanders kind of sort of get on, and we almost started drinking. But it was one of those opportunities that this is a real passionate subject I think that we need to be paying attention. So my name's Allan Cook. I'm one of the co-leaders of our digital reality practice for Deloitte, and digital reality is all things AR, VR, MR, 360 immersive spatial, and I'm sure we're going to keep adding additional terms to describe what we are doing in this field. We have close to 100 practitioners at this point now dedicated to building out immersive spatial experiences for our clients, mainly in the AR space for the enterprise, but we're also doing VR experiences and starting to look at the consumer space as well. To help give you a sense just of the scale of the business, we are approaching an 8-figure business per year at this point. We are doubling in size per year. We are living on the exponential curve. And one of the fundamental things I think that happened to us last year was we hit the elbow. We really saw a significant shift in the way that our clients are approaching us. They're now knowledgeable, they're now smart, they now know what they want. The use cases are absolutely becoming firmly established in the minds of our clients, and I'm going to touch on a few of those as we move forward. Just to give you a couple of stats to back up what I'm saying, eMarketer has said that, you know, in this year, in 2019, there's going to be 43 million people who are actually going to be using VR, and over 70 million folks are going to be starting to use AR at least once per month. We are seeing a dramatic increase. I just finished a strategy engagement with a client looking at their entire go-to-market approach to the enterprise. And after the work, they agreed that they were going to somewhere between double and triple their workforce to continue to invest into this marketplace. We're truly behind the belief in this, and so are our clients. Wanted to show off a few different experiences just to give you a sense of some of the work before I kind of get into the main part of the talk all about the ethics behind what we're doing. This year for the US Open, we've created an AR experience. Marker-based technology allows you to actually hold up your smartphone or tablet device, and then you actually got to see the players live in 3D playing golf across the course. And if you wanted to see how Tiger Woods played that particular hole in 2000, or in this case, Jack Nicklaus in 1972, when he won at Pebble Beach, you could actually see how they played those courses as well, complete with heat maps and the like, and also be able to just see how your current players today like this. We're going to be doing the same thing again for this year's Open and for the Women's US Open as well. One of the other things which we've created is a digital twin series of technologies. We believe that field services, supporting field engineers is going to be one of those mega use cases. Our clients are coming to us with 7-figure deals at this point, asking us to start implementing these types of solutions. We have multiple deals we're working on at this point, multiple clients we're working on in this space. If you want to see either of these two demos, we actually have them both showing up downstairs in the expo. But this is a real high-end pipe. When you hold up the tablet device, or if you put on, say, a Magic Leap headset or HoloLens 2 headset, you get to see the inside workings of these machines. You get to have the step-by-step instructions on what's happening. Another couple of big areas that we're seeing a lot of interest in at this point is around immersive training. This is one of the clients that we're working with actually for their annual training around antiseptic hoods. So this is incredibly important annual training that they have to do. The training that they were formerly doing, you know, you practice, somebody's at the side trying to guesstimate whether you're doing it right or not. If you make a mistake, you know, biochemical diseases and the like may be able to escape all kinds of hazardous materials. Literally, we can track every single movement you're making, where your eyes are paying attention, all of these good sorts of things, and to make sure you truly are doing it right. Another big area for us is around safety and compliance training. Over 80% retention rate when you do immersive training versus what you get with CBTs, which tend to be into the low teens, 12, 13%, 14% maybe retention rate on this stuff. If the training is too dangerous, too expensive, or too difficult to do in the real world, why wouldn't you do that training in a virtual space? Why wouldn't you enable this? The power of immersive training, the empathy that you feel, the experience you have is just so much more real, so much more lasting for folks. So wanted to just share a little bit of that to kind of give you some of the background on some of the things which are happening and to kind of really emphasize that this is no longer science fiction. This genuinely is becoming science fact. As I said, we have a very vibrant, very active practice we're building. Our competitors are also doubling down into this space at this point. However, just with any technology, as you have these huge opportunities, there really are some big challenges that come alongside of this. And we're starting to have to really wrestle with this challenge around the digital space invading the physical space and us living simultaneously in a digital space within a physical space. As AR glasses become more ubiquitous over the next period of time, and we can all take bets on whether that's 2 years out or 10 years out, we're really going to have to start thinking about some of these kind of issues, both around policy, ethics, compliance, governance, what is the normal standards of behavior and the like. So I kind of want to just tell a little bit of a story. Imagine in the future, you're walking down the street. Wow, it's much better without the glasses. I can see everyone. You put your AR glasses on, and suddenly, you see a billboard across the street, and coincidentally, it's now advertising a product you bought yourself earlier. You take your glasses off, and you realize it's actually not. It's an automobile advertisement. It's just the AR glasses recognize that you'd bought this product earlier and just overlaid this. Little tiny question as to who actually has the rights to that physical billboard and who's actually paying for that right, but we can kind of talk about some of those things in a moment. As you continue, you want to go down, say, get some food at a Thai restaurant down the street. You see a nice little pop-up comes up, gives you the details, got a pretty good rating, looks reasonably affordable. But then what you see is, graffitied across the wall, this message, "This place made me puke." Now, the owner of this place, if that was literally graffitied across the outside of their building in the real world, would of course see this, would get their creosote out, rub it down, and move on. They'll accept that they might have lost 1 or 2 customers along the way while they were trying to do that first thing in the morning. They may never be aware that this graffiti is up across their property. They may never be conscious that this is something that has happened to them. This message plus many, many other messages may be there. I'm very proud of working for Deloitte. I think it's a terrific company. What happens if you walk into my lobby, and instead of seeing my logo, one of my competitors puts their logo up there? Or there's all this kind of damaging rhetoric actually being overlaid into my physical space because you're wearing digital glasses which allow you to see the digital world. So these are some of the questions we're starting to have to wrestle with and starting to have to think about as we're moving into this new augmented reality, mixed reality spatial world. Kind of talked a little bit here already about some of the challenges around property rights versus freedom of speech rights, but I'm also going to talk about privacy rights, some of the copyright contents. Then it's going to kind of lead into some of the dangers behind this on reputation, both to enterprises, but to us as individuals as well. And these are some of the things that there are laws in place. Common law does apply to some of these things. We just need to try to figure out how those rules and laws and norms of behavior actually apply from the physical world into this digital world, which ones make sense and which ones don't. There is a revenue component. As I said, the analogy I used before, if you had graffitied outside of your restaurant, "This plate make me puke," not many customers are likely to come in no matter what the Reddit reviews say, no matter what you kind of may be reading on your online paid subscriptions. Touched a little bit on this idea already of the digital versus physical world rights. I feel every augmented reality presentation has to mention Pokemon Go at least once. I think that's probably written into the small print of our contract somewhere. But one of the challenges already experienced by Pokemon in Milwaukee was that residents were complaining about all of the Pokemon Go players going to a particular park, taking over the space, trespassing and making noise ordinances. The local authorities actually passed an ordinance banning people from playing AR games. Candy Labs then reported that up to the federal court, took it back to court, and that ordinance got stripped down on the basis of freedom of speech, the freedom to be able to actually go to these spaces to play these digital types of games. So we're starting to see some of these things being challenged by people as we start to experience this next generation of technology. Some of the other things which we need to be really beginning to worry about is this whole idea of what happens to damaging public property, who actually owns the public property, what rights do I actually have to that space. If I bought the outside signage to my building, does anybody else have that right to put their own signage on the building if they're also located inside the building? If I'm the third floor back left corner tenant, surely it's helpful for me to provide directions to my customers for them to be able to actually come to the front. Another huge area of concern is going to be around privacy. Talking to Greg just now in the green room, the number of cameras both facing inside of the AR glasses versus the number which are actually outside is dramatic. A report by Stanford actually found that over 2 million individual recordings are taken of an individual during a 20-minute VR session. Now, these are things like the posture, your eye motion, your hand motion, various biometric expressions. So all of these details are now being recorded at a minute level that has the technology knowing better than you know yourself, because so much of these stuff is reaction. Who here in this room would like where their eyes are gazing to be recorded 24/7, and for that to be reported out to someone? We all sometimes look in the wrong place at the wrong time, completely inadvertently. But it's one of these things that we need to start thinking about how this stuff gets reported, gets recorded, and then gets shared. Typically, most commercial systems track movements 90 times per second. There are 18 different types of movements which get recorded when you're in these VR, AR experiences. Additionally, the idea of body cameras being worn, it's twofold dangers. One, when I'm actually recording the data of myself, it's fairly obvious that I probably should own that data and choose to share it or not. However, most AR glasses have at least 4 cameras facing out. Who owns that type of data? I'm going to be recording what's going on around me 24/7 as well, being able to bring that up at a moment's notice to be able to look at in the future. In effect, we're going to be putting body cameras on every single individual who's going to be wearing AR glasses. We're already starting to work with some of our clients on oil and gas derricks out in the oceans, and we're struggling to get some of the workers in those conditions to actually want to wear the AR glasses, because whilst they can see the positive benefits, knowing that they're recording themselves constantly during their work life and all of their colleagues is making them start to question what they should or shouldn't, why they should want to be recording this type of information. Sorry, I'm backwards a page. So some of the things we're going to have to really start looking at, as I said, effectively we started to have some of the existing case law being appropriate for this. Police force is already struggling with how long they keep the data, who owns the data, who has access to the data, how long can it be stored for, can I decline to participate, who actually owns the data on me. So a lot of these questions need to be sorted out as we're moving forward. Copyright is